Isa Bulabinak Sakra, Turaga speaker. I join with my fellow colleagues, those who have spoken before me and after me, to congratulate your appointment as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Ministers, Cabinet Ministers, Leader of the Opposition, Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Kumnina Wekangu, Turaga Matangali Kumnira Lui Kemami, Nikalonga Titiko. I also welcome those joining us through live stream from across the globe. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll be speaking in light of the Fiji Correction Service job evaluation exercise and its implementation. I rise to update this August House of the approved job evaluation exercise of the Fiji Correction Services. The primary goal of the JEE is to enable the Fiji Correction Service to attract, retain, develop talent, skills, and capacity within its organization while remaining competitive in the labor market. This initiative also ensured the alignment of the FSC role with its organization structure, its functions and pay scales, promoting the principle of equal pay for work of equal value. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honourable members, please allow me to provide a brief background on the JEE. The Fiji Correction Service adhered to the standard tendering process, including advertising for a consultancy to undertake a job evaluation exercise. Following through a selection process, Maximize was engaged as the consultancy agency. Consultation and interview were conducted with the FSC officers as part of the exercise. The JEE was conducted and a report dated 9 October 2023 provided comprehensive recommendations, including, if I may list them. First, the review and evaluation of roles, responsibilities, and skills. Two, the assignment of appropriate salary bands and remuneration based on competency assessments. Three, the establishment of basic salaries for future recruits guided by the JEE. The adoption of roles descriptions as position descriptions for incumbents. Training to address identified skills gap. And finally, to enhance contract management practices reflecting incumbent roles and vacant positions. The JEE was approved in Cabinet sitting of the June of this year. Cabinet also approved in principle that it would be effective from 1st of August. Unfortunately, it was not to be backdated. And that the final implementation, the rollout, would be subject to finalization from the Ministry of Finance. However, the implementation of the approved job evaluation exercise for correctional officers had generated mixed reactions. These mixed reactions have been the result of a lack of information, exacerbated by rampant spread of misinformation and disinformation. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my intention that by addressing the issue in this August House, that we will be enlightened, particularly for members across the floor who have failed to address the plight of officers over the many years in government. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are several phases in implementing the new policy. The proposed salary structure is informed by the JEE and the Fiji Correction Service remuneration policy, reflecting post-COVID-19 market conditions. Implementation follows a phased approach. The phases considered are the full implementation of a new salary bands effective August of this year, pending the outcome of the individual competency assessments. The adjustments will include mandatory allowance increases and a review of other remuneration policies. The stages of implementation to align with the recommended median. Realignment of the organization structure, the updated implementation of HR policies, and the identification of personnel and inclusion of 81 new posts over the next 3 financial years. Mr. Speaker, sir, in essence, there has been a need to constantly readjust to correctly realign the pay structure to the experience, qualification, and the demands of the role. To this end, a number of HR-related activities have been undertaken to strategically align the manpower structure to the accepted level and supported by its structural framework. In principle, this would mean that the implementation of the JE recommendations is to achieve the following. One, the realignment and redesign of salary band to reflect the JE recommendations. Two, increases that is aligned to the position and not the rank. Three, realignment of the Fiji Correction Service structure to address current operational needs. Review the introduction of enhanced remuneration policies and the resulting increased budgetary allocation for personnel emoluments. And finally, the additional manpower and posts identified to strengthen the role of Fiji Correction Service. 81 is really a record for the history of the Fiji Correction Service. Mr. Speaker, sir, an organization chart has been developed to reflect the current new positions. Correct remuneration packages that are consistent with the role expectations as opposed to the traditional ranking remuneration expectation is a major shift following the approved corrections reforms and the job evaluation exercise. Implementing the policy, the framework has been developed is clearly defined with clear expectations. This is something that was not done in the previous administration. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will proudly say the last JEE, or something to that effect, reflected for the Fiji Cross 7 was not done for the last 40 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the actual manpower level can now tally with the person-to-post, what is normally called P2P, framework that reflects the approved number of manpower resources. Each position should be corresponding job description to clearly demarcate the positions and avoid overlapping of responsibilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, notwithstanding the progress made, the Fiji Correction Service has faced some challenges, and these include the assigning personnel to the correct salary band based on the JEE evaluations, implementing the new salary structure across the Fiji Correction Service, the lack of detailed job descriptions to guide the HR processes, adjusting staff placement to align with the updated organization structure, and transitioning to a performance-based rank structure tied to post as recommended by the JEE. To address these challenges, there has been a continued dialogue to identify and secure sufficient budgetary allocation to support salary increments, as well as providing targeted training program for Fiji Correction Service officers. Additionally, the establishment of a monitoring framework to oversee the progress and effectiveness of the JEE recommendation is crucial. The implementation program has proven to be fruitful and a challenging exercise that requires meticulous analysis to put the correct pay structure into its correct position. The sum of 12.5 million was recommended and approved in the 2024-2025 budget to cater for the 879 staff on the ground, inclusive of the 81 new positions for 2024 and 2025. This is the start, Mr. Speaker, sir. There is still much left to implement. It is clear that the intention to implement with one-year rollout period requires changes though commendable, will require strengthened comprehensive HR system and mechanisms to fully implement it. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is intended that once the JEE outcome is fully implemented, a detailed report will be provided to Cabinet and subsequently the recommendations to this August House. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, the JEE has made traditional rank structure redundant. The rank is no longer attribute of the individual officer, but is attached to the post they hold. Officers wear the rank and receive the pay associated with the post to which they are assigned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.